You thought your dog just wandered into your life by chance. That one day somehow, paths crossed, and that was it. But what if that isn't the whole truth? Of all the moments in your life, of all the days you could have met, why then? Why that dog? Why at a time when you were tired, lonely, grieving, or quietly holding yourself together? There's something about the way a dog looks at you that feels different. Not curious, not judgmental, just knowing. They don't ask who you were yesterday. They don't demand who you'll be tomorrow. They choose you exactly as you are, broken pieces and all, and stay. That kind of love doesn't feel random. It feels intentional. Across history, faith, and human experience, dogs have shown up at our weakest moments, not to fix us, but to walk beside us, to guard us when we're vulnerable, to remind us that we're not as alone as we think. So today we're gonna slow down and listen, not with logic, but with the heart. Because the bond between you and your dog may be far more than emotional. It may be spiritual. And as this story unfolds, you might begin to see your own dog differently, not just as a companion, but as a presence placed in your life for a reason. If that thought already resonates, stay with me. What comes next might explain more than you ever expected. Long before dogs slept on couches or waited by doors, they walked beside us in the dark. Before cities, before written language, before temples or laws, there were fires at night, and dogs standing just beyond the glow, watching, listening, guarding. Early humans didn't see dogs as possessions. They saw them as protectors, beings with sharper senses, deeper instincts, and an awareness humans didn't fully understand. When danger crept in the darkness, dogs sensed it first. When death approached, they seemed to know before anyone else. In ancient Egypt, dogs were honored, not ignored. They stood beside pharaohs in carvings and tombs, believed to guide souls safely through the afterlife. The jackal-headed Anubis wasn't feared. He was trusted, a guardian between worlds. In ancient Greece, dogs walked with gods. They followed Hecate, the goddess of crossroads, appearing wherever paths converged. Moments of choice, danger, or transformation. Where humans hesitated, dogs stood firm. Among many indigenous cultures, dogs weren't just helpers. They were spiritual allies, protectors of children, companions to warriors. Some tribes believed dogs could see spirits long before humans sensed them. Across continents and centuries, one truth repeats itself. Where humans feared the unknown, dogs stood watch. This wasn't coincidence. Civilizations that had never met, never shared language or belief, still arrived at the same conclusion. Dogs carried something sacred, and that ancient role never disappeared. It only changed shape. Have you ever noticed how your dog reacts before you do? A sudden growl at an empty hallway, a refusal to approach someone who seems perfectly fine, a restless pacing on nights when your chest feels heavy for no clear reason. Dogs don't rely on words, they rely on awareness. For centuries, people believed dogs stood at the threshold between the seen and the unseen, guardians of doors, homes, and souls. Not because they were aggressive, but because they were alert in ways humans are not. Many spiritual traditions speak of dogs sensing energy, not good or bad in a dramatic sense, but shifts, changes, intentions, emotions that haven't reached the surface yet. Where humans explain things away, dogs respond. That's why a dog will stand between you and a perceived threat without hesitation. Why they place their body closer when you're anxious. Why they watch the door while you sleep as if it's their sacred duty. Protection doesn't always look like barking or teeth. Sometimes it looks like presence. Even today, dogs instinctively step into that role without being asked. You didn't train your dog to protect your spirit. They chose to. Step into any hospital, nursing home, or rehabilitation center, and you'll notice something remarkable. Amid the beeping machines, sterile smells, and anxious faces, a dog enters the room, not with medicine, but with presence. Therapy dogs don't just comfort, they heal. Their touch lowers stress, reduces anxiety, and triggers oxytocin, the hormone of connection. They remind patients that they are still human, still worthy of love, still part of life. Consider veterans returning from war. The battlefield may be behind them, but the mind remembers. Nightmares, panic attacks, and a constant sense of danger can take over their lives. Service dogs step in where therapy and medicine alone sometimes fail. A gentle nudge, a warm paw, a steady presence beside the bed. These dogs help soldiers trust life again, teaching them courage through unconditional loyalty. It's not only the seriously wounded who benefit. Elderly adults, children in hospitals, trauma survivors, and people coping with loneliness all experience the same quiet miracle, the ability to breathe again, to smile, to feel safe. Dogs show up without judgment, without expectation, without condition. They simply are. Sit quietly with a dog, and you begin to notice something extraordinary. Every gesture, every glance, every wag of the tail carries a lesson, unspoken yet deeply understood. First, there is love. A dog does not measure affection or keep score. You return from a hard day, frustrated or sad, and your dog greets you as if you are the most important soul on earth. No grudges, no judgment, just pure, unwavering love. This is a living lesson in what it means to care without expectation, a type of devotion humans often spend lifetimes searching for. Then there is forgiveness. You may have scolded, raised your voice, or made a mistake, but moments later, your dog is by your side, tail wagging, heart open. They embody forgiveness in its purest form. Immediate, unconditional, and freeing. Witnessing this can teach us how to let go of resentment and extend compassion in our own lives. And finally, there is presence. Dogs live entirely in the now. They do not worry about yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's uncertainties. Watching a dog rest at your side, fully immersed in the moment, is a gentle reminder that true peace exists in the present. Their mindfulness, unintentional yet profound, encourages us to slow down, to breathe, to savor the world around us, and to truly live. There are moments with a dog that feel larger than life, moments when their presence seems almost divine. A dog nudges you towards stillness, rests their head on your knee, or watches you with eyes that seem to see straight into your soul. These are not random gestures. They are subtle messages, reminders that you are not alone and that someone understands without words. Across cultures and centuries, dogs have been revered as more than companions. In ancient Egypt, they were believed to guide souls safely to the afterlife. Native American tribes saw them as protectors, spiritual guides, and bridges between worlds. Even today, in hospitals, therapy centers, and homes, dogs continue to serve a spiritual role, guiding, comforting, and healing those who need it most. Dogs teach us intuition and awareness. They sense emotions before we do. The anxiety we hide, the sadness we mask, the fear we deny. Their ability to mirror our inner world encourages reflection. By observing their reactions, we are invited to face our feelings, to understand ourselves better, and to navigate life with deeper clarity. Beyond emotional guidance, dogs are messengers of divine love. They demonstrate loyalty, compassion, and patience in ways that mirror spiritual principles. When you witness a dog forgiving instantly, loving unconditionally, and living fully in the present, you are seeing an earthly reflection of universal truths. They remind us that spiritual lessons are not only taught in books or temples, but lived in everyday interactions. Life sometimes leaves us hollow, carrying grief that feels unbearable. In those moments, dogs step into the role of silent healers, offering more than companionship. They offer presence, comfort, and the strength to keep moving forward. Imagine a quiet evening after a loved one has passed. The house feels emptier, memories press heavier, and the silence is almost unbearable. Then, your dog curls up beside you, resting their head on your feet, offering warmth and reassurance. They don't ask questions. They don't demand explanations. Their presence alone says, "You are not alone. I am here." Dogs have a remarkable ability to sense human sorrow. Studies confirm that the presence of a companion animal can ease the sharp edges of grief, lowering stress, reducing anxiety, and even improving physical health. Yet the science only captures a fraction of the story. The comfort of a dog is felt in ways that cannot be measured. The steady heartbeat against your hand, the quiet companionship in a dark room, the gentle reminder that life, though heavy, continues. For those who have lost someone dear, dogs act as anchors to life itself. They prompt you to rise from bed, to step outside, to breathe, to exist again. Their simple needs, meals, walks, affection, become a rhythm, a gentle nudge toward healing. In this way, grief is not endured alone. It is shared with a devoted presence that teaches resilience. Veterans and others who have faced trauma often testify to the transformative power of their canine companions. A dog can steady a trembling hand, calm a racing mind, and bring trust back to a life scarred by pain. They are present when the world feels unsafe, when shadows loom, and when memories threaten to consume. These animals don't just provide comfort, they restore faith, courage, and hope. Caring for a dog is more than feeding and walking. It's a daily practice that nourishes both body and soul. Dogs have a way of pulling us into life, compelling us to move, breathe, and engage when the world feels heavy or our own motivation wanes. Imagine waking up on a gray morning. Your joints ache, the bed feels warm and safe, and the idea of moving seems impossible. But there's a pair of eager eyes waiting, a tail wagging, a leash ready. In that moment, your dog becomes a gentle motivator, a reminder that life is still happening outside the four walls, and you are part of it. A morning walk becomes not only exercise, but a meditation, a rhythm of steps, breaths, and connection to the world around you. Feeding, grooming, and daily care become rituals that cultivate discipline and presence. Brushing their coat, filling their bowl, and tending to their needs quietly teach responsibility, patience, and attention. These small acts ripple into other areas of life, reminding us that care, consistency, and love have tangible, transformative power. Studies show that dog owners tend to be more active, healthier, and less prone to loneliness. But beyond statistics, the emotional benefits are profound. A dog encourages movement when we feel stuck, inspires joy when we feel low, and provides companionship that fills voids left by disappointment or isolation. In a sense, while you care for your dog, they care for you, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And now we come to the heart of it all, the reason every wag, every gaze, every nudge has mattered so much. Dogs are not just companions. They are healers, teachers, guardians, and mirrors of a love we often fail to recognize in the human world. They remind us that loyalty, forgiveness, and presence are not just virtues. They are lifelines. So the next time your dog curls beside you, wags their tail at your return, or gazes into your eyes with unspoken understanding, pause and reflect. Witness the miracle of their presence. Celebrate the lessons they've taught you and the light they bring to your life. These are not small acts. These are divine whispers, small sermons of love, loyalty, and spiritual truth delivered in fur and paws. If your dog has ever touched your heart in ways words cannot fully capture, share your story in the comments. Let others know the profound gift these companions are. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to continue exploring the wisdom, love, and inspiration that our four-legged friends bring into our lives.